It begins like any other morning.
The Pentagon is already alive before sunrise, tens of thousands of people moving through corridors that seem to stretch forever.
Phones ring. Screens glow. Coffee steams in paper cups. It's routine. Predictable. Controlled. Until it isn't. At a security station near the south entrance, Captain Diana Torres hears something in her earpiece that doesn't belong in reality. Unidentified formation, approaching fast. Her first thought is a convoy. Maybe a protest. Maybe a mistake. Then she looks at the live camera feed. And everything stops. The highway is full. Not cars. Men. Thousands of them. Perfect lines stretching across every lane. Blue coats. White belts. Muskets resting on shoulders. Cavalry riding alongside like something torn from a painting. Cannon wheels grinding against asphalt that was never meant to carry them. At the front, one man. Still. Focused. Watching. Even through the grainy footage, she knows exactly who it is. And suddenly, history isn't history anymore. Her voice is steady, but her hand tightens around the radio. We have an armed force approaching the Pentagon, approximately 40,000. A pause. They look Napoleonic. Across the river, deep beneath layers of concrete and steel, the White House Situation Room fills in under a minute. No one speaks at first. They just stare. Drone footage replaces the highway camera, clearer now, sharper. There's no denying it. This isn't a reenactment. This isn't a hallucination. This is an army that belongs 2 centuries in the past, marching directly into the present. The president leans forward slowly. Is this actually happening? The chairman doesn't hesitate. Yes, sir. And just like that, the most powerful military on earth is forced to confront something it was never designed to fight: the past. Napoleon Bonaparte built his empire on precision. Not luck. Not chaos. Calculation. Every movement, every formation, every attack timed, measured, executed with ruthless efficiency. His soldiers weren't just brave. They were disciplined. Conditioned to advance and to fire without hesitation. And right now, they're advancing again. From his position overlooking the battlefield, though battlefield is no longer the right word, Napoleon studies the Pentagon. 5 sides. Clean lines. Massive scale. Unfamiliar. But not unconquerable. He begins to adapt. Artillery spreads across the parking lot, cannons dragged into position between rows of abandoned cars. Horses snort, restless in the strange environment. Officers shout commands in voices that echo off concrete instead of stone. Within minutes, everything is ready. Then, fire. The first volley explodes across Arlington. The sound alone feels like it punches through the air. Cannonballs slam into the building's outer walls, tearing through glass, cracking stone, sending debris flying through offices where people were sitting just moments before. Inside, alarms scream. But the structure holds. Because this isn't a palace. It's something stronger. Torres doesn't panic. She doesn't have time to. She locks down every entrance. Redirects her officers. Positions them where they can see without being seen. Every decision buys seconds, and seconds are everything now. Because help is already coming. 1 mile away, engines roar to life. Fort Myer mobilizes. Armored vehicles roll out. Marines move fast. Helicopters begin to lift. The response isn't chaos. It's a machine waking up. And every passing minute shifts the balance. Outside, Napoleon pushes forward. Infantry surge across the parking lot, thousands of boots striking pavement in unison. Drums echo, keeping time like a heartbeat that refuses to stop. They close the distance. 600 meters. And then, gunfire. Not volleys. Not smoke-filled blasts. Something faster. Cleaner. Deadlier. Rifles cut through the advancing lines. Machine guns tear gaps that should stop any charge. But they don't stop. Because the men in those lines don't understand what they're facing. They only understand orders. And the order is forward. Bodies fall. Rows collapse. Still, they move. Until the first soldiers reach the wall. And then, the war changes. Inside the Pentagon, the world becomes something else entirely. No formations. No open fields. Just endless corridors. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. Doors line the walls. Everything is tight. Confusing. Unfamiliar. A French soldier steps into a room filled with civilians hiding under a table. They stare at him. He stares back. Two different worlds, colliding in silence. Then he turns, and keeps moving. Because even here, he knows his job. Torres turns the building itself into a weapon. She knows every hallway. Every shortcut. Her officers move fast, appearing, firing, disappearing. To the French soldiers, it feels impossible. Enemies coming from nowhere. Gunfire from empty spaces. The rules they've trained for don't apply anymore. Still, they adapt. Barricades go up. Positions form. They push deeper. Because that's what soldiers do. They keep going. Then, darkness. The lights die instantly. Every corridor. Every room. Gone. For the Americans, night vision turns chaos into clarity. For the French, it's absolute black. No direction. No visibility. Just footsteps. Echoes. Fear. Men who survived frozen campaigns and brutal battles now stand still, not because they lack courage, but because they cannot see. And in war, that's everything. What follows isn't a battle. It's a collapse. Room by room. Step by step. Voices call out, some surrender, some resist. Some just wait. Because there's nothing else they can do. Outside, Napoleon watches. His army, his unstoppable force, is being swallowed. Not defeated in the way he understands. Erased. Piece by piece. Still, he sends in his final reserve. The Imperial Guard. His best. His last. They march forward without hesitation. Even as gunfire cuts them down. Even as the outcome becomes obvious. Because they don't march for survival. They march because they were ordered to. Because their emperor is watching. And that's enough. Hours later, it's over. The courtyard fills with silence. French soldiers sit on the ground, disarmed, exhausted, overwhelmed. Some stare at the sky. Some close their eyes. Some cry quietly. Not from pain. From the weight of what they've just experienced. A world they cannot understand. A war they were never meant to fight. Napoleon stands alone. The noise is gone. The battlefield is gone. All that remains is reality. He looks at the Pentagon. Still standing. Still functioning. A building that absorbed everything he threw at it and didn't fall. For the first time in a long time. There is no move left to make. He didn't lose because he lacked skill. He didn't lose because his soldiers lacked courage. He lost because time itself moved on without him. Because war evolved. Because the rules changed. And he was fighting a future that didn't need to understand him to defeat him. More than 12,000 of his men are gone. The rest, captured. American losses? Measured. Contained. Survivable. But something remains. Something no report will fully capture. Because numbers don't explain what happened here. 40,000 men marched into a world that shouldn't exist, and they didn't stop. Not when the weapons made no sense. Not when the battlefield disappeared. Not even when defeat was certain. Because they didn't know they were supposed to lose. And maybe, that's the part that matters most.